Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Ivory Tower Boiler Room. This is Dr. Andrew Rimby, and I'm really excited because before I hit record, I was thinking to myself in my internal monologue shower from vacation that my guest has heard me talk a lot about my Atlantic City trip with the parents and the beach and still feeling the sun on my skin. And I was thinking, wait, this has to be the furthest amount I've zoomed in distance wise. And it definitely is because my guest here is actually from Queensland, Australia, which is incredible with technology. I am joined with the award winning poet Stuart Barnes, who was born in Tasmania, educated at Monash University, Victoria, lives in Queensland. His second book, which we're going to jump right into, is called Like to the Lark. It is a poetry collection. It was published by Upswell Publishing in 2023, hot off the presses. And his first book, and the one that I really got to know him by, is called Glass Houses from 2016. It won the 2015 Arts Queensland Thomas Shapcott Prize, was commended for the 2016 FAW Ann Elder Award, and shortlisted for the 2017 ASAL Mary Gilmore Award. So, welcome to the ITBR, Stuart Barnes. Hi, Stuart.
Hi, Andrew. How are you?
Good, good. I'm so glad you're joining me here. I love when a poet is in the presence of, the ITBR's ether. It's always fun to get into a poet's mind. So I think starting
Thank
with
you.
that, before we even go to Like to the Lark, like take us back to maybe even when you were born in Tasmania. Um, I don't know when it starts for you. If it's at an early age, if it's your college education, like when did poetry, what was it about poetry? How does this even enter your life?
Okay. It did enter my life at an earlier age. Um I used to go to church with my family, and an Australian poet called Gwen Harwood, who's no longer with us, was a member of a congregation, and uh, she was she published several collections at the time, and one day she said to me in the way that adults do, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I, I really want to be a writer. And she said, you're not going to be a writer, you're going to be a poet. and I had no idea what that was. And there was a little op shop attached to the church. And after every Sunday morning mass, she'd take me down into the op shop and put a little book of poetry uh, into my pocket and send me home, and then send me home with it and ask me to read it, and then we'd talk about it the following week. So that was I'd always loved language and reading, and my parents got me reading at a really early age. But it was I think Gwen was the first adult who asked me what I wanted to do, and then I was sort of able to join the dots between a love of reading and language and sort of the written word, and kind of honed that, and then I became really curious about what poetry was, and what poetry is, and what poetry can be. So that went on for quite a while. Yeah, while we until we left the church. Yeah, so that was the beginning. That was when it all started, at around the age of 9. The reading of and the writing of also.
Yeah, 9 is a very early age, I feel, for poetry, just because, well, I guess as children we have nursery rhymes, they're poems. We have
Yes,
um, Mother Goose,
Mother
Dr.
Goose.
Seuss.
Yes, great
I'm
rhyme.
rhyming right now. Let's think of another rhyme there. But were you also, though, absorbing, I'm assuming, children's stories, short stories, novels? Like, were you just such a wide reader?
I was. I had really large volumes of fairy tales and different tellings of those different sort of interpretations of fairy tales. Yes, collections of short stories and novels as well. I remember over like a summer holiday in, I think, grade 6. So when I was about 11 or 12, I sat down and wrote a novella. Or I didn't know it was a novella at the time, but I just had this urge to write. And I had actually been writing from about the age of 5, just kind of making my own little books, like stapling pieces of paper together and writing. So yeah, so the desire to kind of put something down on paper was there from a really early age, and it was a lot of fun. Um, yeah.
Well, and when you went to college, was that you still in the forefront of your mind had creative writer printed on the forehead? Like, was that the goal in college? Is that what you majored in, was writing?
It it was. So I majored in I did a double major in literature and philosophy at Monash University, and also studied a lot of literature subjects at high school, and had really wonderful teachers. So we had not only sort of the historic components of literature and learning about literature's history, but also creative components as well. And I was sort of a straight A English student at high school, and that was a couple of teachers really took me under their wing and said, like, there's we see something in your writing, like, keep doing it. And it was the one subject, especially at high school, that I loved, or at university actually as well, that I loved more than anything else. So when I went to uni, it was a no-brainer to study literature. And I was also really interested in philosophy, which I'd studied at high school, and they seemed to be a really great pairing. So yes, so and in the meantime, I just kept writing, sort of, on the side. Um,
Yeah, a specific philosophy, Stuart? Like, was there one that a philosophical school that you just really latched onto? And did it influence philosophy, um, your writing process? Like, do they work hand in hand?
yes, actually, there were themes of consciousness and sentience, and I realize, gosh, it's only actually now that you've asked me that I've made this connection. It's interesting how that happens. But there are a lot of poems in Like to the Lark that I I'm sort of imagining myself, or the speaker of the poems is a plant or an animal. So I studied several philosophy subjects around that theme, and I'm now seeing that's coming out in a lot of my poetry, and more so in poems that I've written since Like to the Lark has come out. Um, I really love thinking about how animals and plants and other beings respond to the earth and to what humans have done and continue to do to the earth.
Well, and in Like to the Lark, I feel that you're also technology seems to be really um it's hinted, not even hinted, but it is a constantly repeated theme of isolation, like feeling of the
Yes,
speaker's identity being questioned with a technological app like say Grindr, or even what it means to um connect with people, and like is technology really going to bring us there? And it does, there's a lot of ethics it seems involved in your poetry, and I was
yes,
really enjoying that because it's not, that doesn't always happen. Like sometimes the speaker becomes more um the psychology of the speaker is what a poet is more invested in, instead of say, like you're saying, an animal, plant life, technology, something that we don't always think of having an essence and identity as
Yes.
humanistic.
Yes. Yes.
Hi, this is Dr. Andrew Rimby, the host and director of the Ivory Tower Boiler Room. I hope you're enjoying what you're watching on the Ivory Tower Boiler Room. So, to watch the rest of the episode, head to our Patreon. It is patreon.com/Ivory Tower Boiler Room. That's Ivory Tower Boiler Room. And you can watch the rest of the episode on our $5 a month membership called ITBR Student, or join the ITBR Professor membership. It's only $10 a month. You get access to all of our videos. You get access to both of our book clubs, the Ivory Tower Boiler Room and the True Crime and Academia book club. Plus, you unlock all of our other episodes. So at the ITBR Student, you only get access to our weekly interviews and the True Crime and Academia episodes. For $10 a month, you get access to our ITBR rewatches, our Teaches series, and True Crime and Academia rewatches and Teaches series, plus the book clubs. Okay, can't wait to see you all on Patreon. And just a reminder, I also offer consultation services. It is $30 for your initial consultation. You get a 1 hour private Zoom with me, and I will help you whether you want to create your own podcast and or media brand, you want to navigate academia as an undergrad or grad student, you need help with technology as it relates to teaching or media, do you want to expand your social media presence as an artist, writer, podcaster, or academic, or even crafting your public humanities identity, I will help you with my consultation services. You can also find that on Patreon as well. Okay. Thank you all for watching and for supporting the Ivory Tower Boiler Room. Bye.